expected points, clean sheet odds, captaincy, and players to buy. This video has got all the information you need to know for game week 15. Starting off then, we've got the top players for expected points by position. We're going to start, of course, with the goalkeepers. Top of the list this week with Sheffield United away. I mean, undoubtedly, in my opinion, the worst team in the league. We've got Kelleher, 4.8 expected points. Number one, actually, by quite some margin, ahead of Raya and Leno. We've got Johnston in 4th place. Jose Sarr and Nick Pope. Draft Town, unfortunately, hasn't quite updated yet, so replace them with Dan Bentley and Dubravka. Vicario, Neto, Sanchez and Edison round off the top goalkeepers. Onto the defenders. Trent Alexander-Arnold tops the list. 6.7 expected points against Sheffield United. Again, similar reasons to Kelleher. Liverpool obviously heavily back to keep a clean sheet in that game, and with 2 goals in his last 2 games, Trent looks a really good option. Zinchenko and Saliba, obviously Arsenal, proven to be at the moment literally the best defence in the league. Makes sense for those 2 guys to be near the top as well. We've got Virgil van Dijk, Trippier, Tsimikas, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Matip and Pedro Porro for the defenders. Onto the midfield, and like it is every week, Salah tops the list, but this week in particular, I think it's his highest expected points the season so far. Sheffield United away, again, a cracking fixture, best fixture you could possibly ask for, apart from obviously it being at Anfield. 8.9 expected points ahead of Saka, Odegaard and Son. I think all 3 of those guys are really nice options this week as well. Martinelli, who has been a little bit disappointing so far this season. He's got Luton away, so a chance of scoring that one. Trossard, I mean, question mark as to whether, to be honest, both of those players play. We could well see Trossard come in for Martinelli. Remains to be seen who Arteta picks there. Foden, Szoboszlai, Rashford and Mbeumo round off the top midfielders. And forwards, we've got Erling Haaland at number 1. I don't really think that's a massive surprise. Darwin Núñez in 2nd place. Alvarez, Isak, Edouard, Jackson, Jesus, Solanke, Nketiah and Ferguson. One player you don't see on this list, Ollie Watkins. I think with Man City at home being his fixture, particularly considering Man City don't have Rodri, I think he's got a decent chance of scoring. Obviously, draft time don't favour him too well in terms of expected points. But me personally, I think I do. I think Watkins, if you've got him, there's no point rushing him out because you don't see him on this top forwards list. I think he's got a reasonable chance of scoring against Man City. And then the captaincy call this week, I think it's between Salah and Haaland. However, Draft Town have it Salah leading this week, and to be honest, I think you can understand that. The fixture that Salah has is by far and away superior to the one that Man City do. Although I would say, after drawing to Tottenham, I think Man City will have a bit of a fire under them to dominate and beat Aston Villa. But we all know how good Aston Villa are at home, and we all know how bad Sheffield United are, right? So I think this week, it makes sense to stick the armband on Salah if you have him. If you don't have him and would find it really hard to get him in, I wouldn't be too concerned about captaining Haaland. But overall, I think this week, captaincy is on Salah. Now, I wondered if you could do me a favour. If you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel as well, set the notification bell so you can see when I upload next. If you're really enjoying the video, please consider joining as a channel member. You'll get early access to all of my videos, and when I deadline stream, I'll give you priority when I rate people's teams in Draft Town. You can also, if you want to support the channel in a different way, check out my shop down below. You can buy yourself a golden goal sticker or a mug. All right, back to the video. Quick look at all the defences and their clean sheet odds then. The usual rule I go for with clean sheet odds is anything below 30%. I wouldn't really consider starting players, from those particular teams. So Tottenham, I think they probably just edge it. West Ham at home, they could keep a clean sheet in that fixture. I think remains to be seen. But we've got Arsenal, 56% against Luton. Liverpool, 48% against Sheffield United. I'd actually have Liverpool a little bit higher there, I must admit. Fulham and Wolves both on 38. Crystal Palace 33, Brighton, Man City and Newcastle 31. I wouldn't be surprised just to see, I don't know, I've got a feeling that Brighton just somehow keep their first clean sheet of the season in game week 15, even as an Mbeumo owner myself. And then, like I said, Tottenham and Chelsea, probably borderline. I'd favour Tottenham. I think they've got a reasonable chance against West Ham. Anything Chelsea and below there, I don't think you can back a clean sheet for. One of the main talking points, in my opinion, for game week 15 is the fact that we've got two starting 3.9 million goalkeepers at the moment in FPL, which is just seems to be absolutely insane. Obviously, this is kind of as a result of the first choice goalkeepers for their teams being injured. Obviously, Alisson is injured at the moment for Liverpool, opening the space for Kelleher to start, although I would say he didn't look that great in game week 14. It is expected that Alisson will be back, though, for game week 17 to play Man United. That's at least what Klopp said in his press conference. Dubravka, however, I think is a really exciting option. Nick Pope unfortunately dislocated his shoulder in game week 14. The last time he did that, he was out for 4.5 months. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be out for that long again, but a dislocated shoulder is not a 2 or 3 week injury. He is going to be out for a while. So I would expect Dubravka to start at least the next 5 games. I'd imagine most people are sat on Turner and Areola, or at least Turner as their goalkeeper. He's not playing. He's on your bench, 4 million, maybe even 3.9, depending on how much you paid for him at the time. I think one of these guys could well come in for Turner and, in certain game weeks could well start. Liverpool got Sheffield United, great chance for a clean sheet. And I'd say the Newcastle fixtures, bar the Tottenham one coming up, are also really, really nice. So, yeah, I definitely consider bringing one of these guys in. If you don't have other fires to put out in your team, most people doubled up on Turner and Areola. Obviously, Areola underperforming. Turner not even in the team anymore. I think you can go for one of these guys. The next talking point is, of course, Anthony Gordon. He's proven to be, in my opinion, he's 6 million now, but I'm still going to class him as a 6 million or below mid. I think he's proven to be the best midfielder in this price category now. Definitely locked down the left wing position for Newcastle. Obviously putting up really strong attacking returns numbers, 11 returns in 12 starts. And he works really hard defensively as well, which I think Eddie Howe really likes. Of course, the one caveat with Gordon at the moment is he has got, it's undefined at the moment exactly the nature of the injury. He certainly didn't look too injured when he got interviewed after the game. But he did pick up a little hip niggle, I would call it. So I think it's just worth watching, basically. Worth watching, seeing what is said in the press conferences this week to determine if you think Anthony Gordon is going to play. However, what I am saying is that he's the best midfielder in this price category, in my opinion. Newcastle got some great fixtures coming up. Spurs away. I spoke about Dubravka, that not being the best fixture for him. That's because Spurs are decent going forwards. However, defensively, without Van der Ven in the team, I just think Spurs are all over the place, I've got to admit. And I just think Gordon could score in each of those 5 games he's got coming up. So I really like him as an option. Just be cautious of that hip injury. Watch for news this week. And if he looks to be fit, I'd look to get him. Another player I'd look to get is William Saliba. Now, I just think Arsenal are emerging as the best defence in the league. They're the best defence at the moment for expected goals conceded. And of all the Arsenal defenders at the moment, Saliba is the only one that you can consider to be nailed. To be honest, even then he could get rotated in games where he needs a rest because obviously he did have that big injury towards the end of last season. However, he just seems to be the most nailed of all those defenders, hasn't he? We've seen Gabriel, Zinchenko, White and Tomiyasu all being rotated this season so far. He is, of course, quite expensive, 5.5 million, but I really do think you're getting yourself a solid option for your money. 14 starts, 6 clean sheets is really, really good when you compare how many teams, have kept clean sheets this season, right? Clean sheets seem to be really, hard to come by. So a defender that actually keeps them, Saliba is a good option. Next up then is Bukayo Saka. I mentioned this on my buy and avoid video and pretty much every video I've ever made this season. I just think, I'm very pleased I have as well because he's rewarded my patience owning him and hopefully other managers too that listen to my advice basically. But I just think he's such a solid option who is going to continue picking up returns across the season against any opposition. He's Arsenal's by far and away their best player and their talisman. He's absolutely nailed on that right wing. I think, even if he was on crutches, Arteta would wheel him out and get him to play on his crutches on that right wing. I just think he's so important to the way that Arteta wants to play with his both going forwards. He's fantastic and he also works really hard defensively. He is, of course, Arsenal's designated penalty taker as well. He won't take them all. He's been giving some of them away, but he will get some penalties, in my opinion, towards the end of the season. The fixture run is not, it's not amazing, but I do think he could score in pretty much all the games he's got coming up, really. And 12 returns, 13 starts. I think, to be honest, 8.8 million is a bit underpriced for just the upside that he brings. I think Saka is a great option. If you don't have him already, I'd really consider looking to get him in. Now, David Raya is another player I wanted to talk about. If you don't fancy the two 3.9 million goalkeepers, who obviously do carry a bit of risk with them, don't get me wrong, I think David Raya is your best bet as a goalkeeper. I think long term, just don't have to think about it. Set and forget goalkeeper. Raya is your man. Arsenal were the best defence in the league for expected goals conceded. I don't think Ramsdale was really competition for Raya anymore. I think we all know who Arsenal's first choice goalkeeper is, certainly in the Premier League anyway, and it's David Raya. I just think the fixture run is decent. Particularly, you could pick, for example, Dubravka on your bench, and then when Arsenal actually play Liverpool, you could just bench Raya for your other goalkeeper if they're playing. I do think that's a way that you could play it. And 9 starts, 4 clean sheets, conceded only 7 in those 9 starts as well. The saves numbers aren't amazing, but you're going for him for clean sheets. And when you compare Raya to the prices of, obviously he's injured now, but Nick Pope, Alisson, and Ederson, all 5.5 million. Raya is just great value in comparison, and they are the best defence in the league. So, yeah, I just think he's such a safe pick and really worth considering if you're looking to change your goalkeeper. All right, and that's the end of the video. A bit of everything in there. I've tried to squeeze in all the useful information that I have for Game Week 15 because we've got such a short turnaround with deadline being on Tuesday. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. If there was anything I'm missing and you've got some questions for me, stick them in the comments and I'll do my best to respond to them. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel just about there, and I will catch you in my next video.